Well, I was waiting for this to come on. I was actually just reading from our little calendar. We have a daily calendar, and it's got a saying for each day. And actually, yesterday's is a better one, I think. Yesterday said, people are like stained glass windows. They sparkle and shine when the sun is out, but when the darkness sets in, their true beauty is revealed only if there is a light from within. And that was Elizabeth Kubler-Ross. Yeah, that's pretty good, actually. Today's reading, yes. Now, what about today's reading? I'm still kind of processing it because I don't think it should be taken at face value. Why not? Well, I'll let you decide for yourself. If my mouse will stop doing wacky things here and taking me back pages. Come on, don't be silly. Here we go. No, we don't. So here we go. It's called The Comfort of Bees. As I said, make of it what you will. Linda Lynn Haupt, Lynda Hynn Haupt, from a book called Rooted: Life at the Crossroads of Science, Nature and Spirit. Oh, that's pretty good, actually. So who was she? Well, she is self-described here as, let me see, what does she describe herself as? Oh, it's gone. Anyway, she's a writer. She's into nature, looking after nature, and I don't know where it went. It's kind of silly. It just kind of vanished. Oh, here we are. She's a naturalist, an eco-philosopher, a speaker, and her writings are at the forefront of the movement to connect people with their nature. With nature. And speaking of nature, I think a cat wants to come in. But anyway, it can wait. The comfort of bees. Maybe sometimes we don't need to grasp at comfort within difficulty, but sometimes we are just uncomfortable. Maybe sometimes we don't need to grasp at comfort within difficulty, but maybe sometimes we're just uncomfortable. And Ernest Holmes. Each is a center of divine love. Where do we first learn to express this? Well, I guess I should say some of us in our home. The same idea is extended to the community, to the nation, and to the world until we finally learn to feel that we are a part of life, that we belong to the world in which we live and to the universe in which we live. And that was a New Design for Living, page 167. Okay, that presupposes that there was love at the center of our home life. In mine, yeah, there was. Everybody? No, I know that. So some of us have got to learn it later on. Oh, hi, Elfie. That's one of our cats. So anyway, here is Reverend Chris's offering for today. And I ask you to think about it and think what you think about it. She says, I've been thinking about the idea of comfort. Many of us have been taught that our individual comfort is a goal, but honestly, I don't think that's true. The other day, I was walking barefoot through our yard and was stung by a bee on the bottom of my foot. It was unpleasant, to say the least. But after icing my foot and accepting that I was probably going to be tired, I began wondering, what was the alternative? If I'd been wearing shoes, surely more comfortable for me, I wouldn't have felt the bee's warning, and the bee likely would not have survived. Was her life worth my comfort? I don't believe so. Not quite sure that's scientifically accurate, but anyway, taking it as it is on face value. Of course, she says, I'm not suggesting we all run around barefoot stepping on bees and throwing caution to the wind, but I am offering a moment of retrospection, or maybe introspection. As you look around, are there things in your life providing comfort to you at the expense of another life? It can be hard to discern both the source of our belongings and the relative suffering of those who made or delivered them? It is an interesting question, isn't it? As I move away from thinking that I have the privilege of comfort above all else, I gently look around at my life and the things in it. What insignificant comforts can I release to allow all life to flourish? Where can I shift my mindset and my way of life to support a world that works for all? I think it needs, to me, this needs an awful lot of thought, because it's not so simple. You know, it's really a complex question. And especially when you look at her affirmation, Reverend Chris's affirmation, she says, in releasing my attachment to personal comfort, I opened the door to deeper compassion and a more harmonious existence with all beings. I don't think she's suggesting for one moment that we shouldn't feel comfortable at times. I think what she's suggesting is, anyway, let me rephrase that. This is how I take it. I have to consider the whole of life on this planet in my everyday life. And so if I'm doing something just to feel comfortable, and I know it's at the expense of someone or something else, I need to think twice about it and think, is that a reasonable thing to do? Because maybe it is, and maybe it isn't. So I think the question really becomes, what's my role in life? What's my role in the universe? How do I interface with everything? And the things I have around me, where did they come from? Who made them? And I'll give you some examples. You know, I like to eat, I don't eat meat. I do occasionally eat chicken. And of course, at Thanksgiving, I ate turkey because that's what everybody had. They had ham, I didn't eat it because I don't eat meat. I don't eat pigs, cows, anything like that. But I will eat chicken occasionally. And I do eat fish. So I guess deep down, I'm a pescatarian. And I like tuna fish. Yes, I like the tuna fish in cans, but that's not the can I'm talking about. I'm talking about the kind of tuna fish that you can buy in tuna steaks, and then you can saute for yourself, or however you cook them. I saute them. And I love that. Now, there was a while when I couldn't get these. I found the frozen ones at whichever big bucks store I buy it from, and there's 2 big bucks stores that sell them, and I won't mention their names. And the frozen ones, in my humble opinion, have been a lot better than the fresh ones. So that's what I could buy. But for a while, there were none available. Why were they not available? Because they found out, and they, I guess, the importers found out that in producing the tuna fish, in catching the tuna fish, the fishermen who had actually had to do this were fishing in Vietnamese waters, and to all extents and purposes, these fishermen were slaves. They were enslaved people by the way they were treated. And therefore, the importers stopped importing them for a while until they could get it from a source that was reasonable. Did that affect my comfort? Yes, it did. Was that okay with me? Yes, it was. So that's an example of where I think, yes, that's absolutely quite reasonable. If I discover that something I bought was produced by forced labor, for want of a better expression, well, the very least I can do is not to buy that kind of thing again. I don't think it's right to stop using it and throw it away. That's just as bad as buying it with knowledge. So I think we all need to be consciously aware of where the things that we have in our everyday life, whether it's food or the TV screen I'm looking at now on you and speaking through, and the audio visual video equipment that's been used, audio visual equipment that's been used to produce it. So I think we have a duty to be aware, and if we find that things are coming from a source which is using things which make people not just uncomfortable, but actually taking away their basic rights for life or for living, then yeah, I think we have a duty to not do that. But do we throw stuff away because it was produced in that way? No, I don't think so, because that's just as bad. In my opinion, waste is just as bad. So anyway, those are my 10 cents worth on this. What do you think? In releasing my attachment to personal comfort, I opened the door to deeper compassion and a more harmonious existence with all things. And ironically, somebody has just jumped on my lap, and you can kind of see her here. This is one of our cats, Elfie. And am I comfortable right now with her on my lap? No, I'm not. Am I going to kick her off? No, I'm not. Why? Because I like cats and I like her to be comfortable. But I think there's a balance. We have to balance our own comfort with that of everyone and everything else, including the whole planet itself. So anyway, those are my 10 cents worth. I'll be back tomorrow around about, let me see. Yeah, I'll be back tomorrow at 5. There shouldn't be any interruption. And let me see, Reverend Lisa will be back tomorrow at 9:30. And I'm getting distracted by this person who's stood on my lap here. And I just accept it. So anyway, that's the reading. Those are my thoughts on the reading. And I'd love to know what your thoughts on the reading are, because we all have a different way of looking at the world, a different lens through which we perceive it. So until tomorrow, or next time, whenever that is, namaste.